What is up, everybody? What's up? Listen, I am ecstatic. Today is day 30. I am back out here on the porch. This is one of my favorite places to be. I got my coconut water with me. Yes, we got to stay hydrated, y'all. It's like, it's almost, what, 94, 95 degrees in Atlanta where I am. It's crazy. But I'm really on here to celebrate 30 days of love self. On June the 1st, we started this challenge, a challenge to not only help folks to come back home to themselves, but also to create a community and a way of living, honestly, based on my own transformative journey. Y'all, I'm out here. I'm so excited to be celebrating 30 days of love self with you all. Thank you all for coming on the journey with me. I had to crutch my way out here. I broke my foot, and on Juneteenth, no less. But I hobbled my way out here with these crutches so that I could really celebrate and give this day the commemoration that it's due. I'm also here to answer any questions that you might have about the journey. And I'm just ecstatic. Y'all, this is my first live ever in life. And so thank you all for not only being a part of this journey, but also for bearing with me through this live. I am just ecstatic to be here. One of the first things that I want to do is to honor so many of the comments that came through during the challenge. I have my handy computer here, my laptop, so that I can go through each of these. We ran this particular 30-day Love Self Challenge not only on TikTok, but also on YouTube. So there are some longer form videos there. If you haven't had a chance to connect with us on YouTube, you're welcome to do that as well. I invite you to, the tag is Start Love Self Journey. It's actually Love Self Journey. We're ramping up to Instagram. We're going to be launching our Instagram tomorrow, and it's Start Love Self Journey there. But for YouTube and TikTok, it's Love Self Journey. So I want to honor some of the comments that have been left over the course of the 30 days. On day 4 of the Love Self Challenge, which was really about death to grind culture, honestly, and how grind culture just is not sustainable and it doesn't serve us very well. We had a comment from Kimberly Walker 3937 that says, I would love a pause and reset. Unfortunately, the push through is tied directly to how I live. My nervous system needs a pause. Thank you so much, Kimberly Walker 3937, for that transparent, vulnerable message. And it's true, so many of us have constructed lives that have entrapped us into just busyness for busyness sake, honestly. And so I can definitely feel her on that. I understand how she feels and feels that in that sentiment. Getting off the treadmill can be one of the hardest things to do, because honestly, it feels like everything, all the balls in the air feel equally important and feel like they all have to be juggled. It's hard to prioritize. It can be hard to prioritize and let something hit the ground. Also, for those of us who were raised to be overachievers, it feels a little bit irresponsible. It can feel a little bit irresponsible to let something hit the ground like you didn't see it all the way through. That can feel a little bit irresponsible. But on my own journey, I have learned that some of those balls need to hit the ground. And in aligning and choosing myself and in aligning my life and building a life that aligns with the things that I really need, it's been so helpful in being able to prioritize appropriately, because that's really what it is. We can do a lot of things over the course of a life. We cannot necessarily do all the things we want to do all at the same time, right? So, you know, it's a journey. It's a journey, and we have to give ourselves grace as well. Another thing that's really important to think through is the motivation behind why you're doing all of the things. So are you doing all of the things because those things really align with your values? They really bring you joy? They're part of your heart work, your purpose work, your life's mission? Or are you doing those things because that's what's expected of you? Or are you doing those things because the script or the costume you've chosen to wear came with the script that says this is what you should do? Interrogating the motivation and the intentionality behind why we do the things we do, I think, is really important. And it's an important step toward really achieving love self. So thank you so much, Kimberly Walker 3937, for that transparent and real sharing. From day, what day was this? From day 2. From day 2 of the challenge, which was really about pouring from empty cups, and not and how the capacity to pour from an empty cup is not sustainable. We have a comment from Eagle Eye Management, which says, "Ooh, this is good." Listen, so many of us pour from empty cups on a regular basis, and it's hard to do that. Or we pour from cracked cups. So we may be filling ourselves, but the cup itself is cracked. And because the cup is cracked, the water, the joy, the love, the ability to pour into others leaks out. And we have leaks in our cups. So, you know, it's important to really get clear about the things that matter to you so that you can build a cup that can sustain you. So thank you so much, Eagle Eye Management, for that from day 2. I appreciate you. On day 3, I talked about, this was from, this day was really about the motivation behind this challenge and really behind creating love self at all. And this was about a conversation that I had with my son, Pharaoh. I had this conversation with him probably 2 years ago when I was in the midst of my own healing journey, and Pharaoh asked me, you know, I know it's important, Mom, for me to love myself, but how exactly do I do that from day to day? And honestly, you know, I was living in my own practice and in my own love self world and ecosystem and journey, but I had never really sat down and thought about how to help someone else operationalize that day to day. And I didn't have an answer for him then, but I told him that I was going to create an answer, and Love Self is that answer. So I created this not only for my son specifically, but also for people like him who recognize the importance of valuing yourself, honoring yourself, loving yourself, and aligning your life with things that really feed you, but maybe aren't clear about exactly how to do that. Now, I'm an educator, you know, by heart. I'm a computer scientist and learning scientist by training, but I'm a professor. I've been a professor for almost 20 years. And so teaching is my gift. Teaching is what God created me to and called me to do. And so I decided that I would create Love Self to help people to operationalize those day-to-days. And so on day 3, which was about that story and the importance of being able to operationalize a love self practice, Tippy L said, "No, but I've been trying, so I can't wait to see the series." And so Tippy, thank you for that. It can feel like a challenge to begin and enact a love self practice, but I think the key thing to remember is that you do not have to overhaul your life to have a love self practice. It starts with one step, one thing, one ritual, one decision, honestly, that you make for yourself, and over time you can construct and curate a life that really aligns with who you are, with what matters most to you, and with your values. So thank you so very, very much for that comment, Tippy. On day 4 of the Love Self Challenge, you know, I talked about this. Yes, this was around the grind culture. Listen, y'all, I cannot tell you how deciding to exit out of grind culture really liberated me. And I understand that there is a privilege in that, in being able to do that, to choose to exit. But I do believe that each of us have the capacity, no matter where we are, no matter our station in life, to choose slowness and rest, even if even if they are just pockets within our day. We each have the power and capacity and ability to do that. But I have to say, grind culture is a very American thing. I think it's starting to spread, unfortunately. But I've never heard anybody say when they got old, you know what, I wish I had worked more. I wish I grinded harder. I've never heard anybody say that. So I hope that as a society we come to a place where we completely let go of grind culture and honestly start to align more with gifts and purpose and joy. I think we'd all be better for it. On day nine, we have a comment from Roxy B. Day 9 was about getting the support that you need. Specifically, my own journey with anxiety, PTSD, and ADHD. I am a neurospicy girly. Shout out to all my neurospicies. We have a superpower called ADHD. It really is a superpower. And once we learn to go with our brains instead of trying to go with what the world says about how we should view it and how we should move through it, then we start to see the superpower that it really is. We are very special people, us neurospicy folk. But Roxy B says, my daughter recently learned that she has ADHD. It's helped her tremendously. Her anxiety was crushing. I tried everything to help her, and now with this diagnosis, she's so much better. Thanks for sharing. Listen, I was a late diagnosed person with ADHD. I didn't get diagnosed until I was 47. I will be 49 on July 9th. Shout out to all the cancers that are here. And for me, it helped me to understand the workarounds that I had created for myself my entire life to manage what I had no idea was ADHD. I just thought, well, this helps me to be able to study, or this helps me to be able to focus, and so I just did it. And I'll never forget the day that my therapist said to me, Jaquita, have you ever considered you might have ADHD? Y'all, my flabbers were gasted. Do you hear me? I was like, me? I'm a very high achieving person, and I'm very high functioning as well. And so it never even crossed my mind that I might have ADHD. I had so many ideas about what I thought it was and what it wasn't, and didn't understand it to be the superpower that it actually is. And so for me, I was like, that can't be right. But the more we talked about it, the more that I began to unpack it, and then when I actually got a formal diagnosis, I realized, oh, wow, yeah, like this is something I've been dealing with my entire life and just didn't have a name for it, didn't know what it was. I have inattentive ADHD, so I do not represent hyperactive. And a lot of times, especially with women and girls, especially with black women and girls, we are often undiagnosed for longer and or misdiagnosed with other things, because it doesn't present in us the same way that it might present in someone else. And because I did so well in school, because I was so high achieving and high functioning, I definitely would have been one that fell through the cracks, and I was. But I have the support that I need. I do have a therapist. I am on medication. Me and Auntie Lexi, I heard Unhinged. Big shout out to Unhinged. He calls his Binance Auntie Vi. Well, I'm on Auntie Lex, and I have just really, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have the support that I need, and I encourage everyone to get the support that they need if you need that support. So thank you so much, Roxy B, for sharing on day 9. On day 10 was about meditation. Listen, meditation has been such a revelation for me, and the key for like everything. Like it was the thing that unlocked a lot of what has taken place for me over the past 4 or 5 years. I talked about, how I first came to meditation consistently. In January of 2021, I took a class I'm here in Atlanta, so I took a class at Georgia State University around meditation, and it was actually meditation for musicians, because I'm a singer, and I play a couple of instruments. I compose music, and when I tell you, getting a solid meditative practice has made such a difference for me. Since that time, I have maintained that practice over all these years. So I'll be coming up. In fact, I just passed 5 years. Wow. I just passed 5 years of having a really, really consistent meditative practice. That class I took from January 2021 to May 2021, and that's where I found Ascension. And it's so important to me, in fact, that I'm going to spend the month of July focused on meditation. So if you all have questions about how to start a meditative practice, how to grow a meditative practice, the different approaches that I've tried, I'm gonna be sharing all of that over the month of July, and so I hope that it will inspire and encourage and invite you to begin your own meditative practice. But we have a comment from day 10 from Wanda. It says, Doc, I need the link so that I can ascend too. So if you go to the link that's in my bio, or you can even go directly to the website. It's Start Love Self Journey /30-day challenge. Then you can see a link to the Ascension video. But we're going to talk about all different kinds of meditation in the month of July, because one size does not fit all. Everybody's different, and something will resonate with different people. Different things resonate with different people. But thank you so much, Wanda, for that comment. On day 17 was about affirmations. I mean, I'm a firm believer that you have to speak life over yourself, and the Bible even talks about the importance and the power of the tongue, that life and death is in the tongue. And I believe that we have to speak life over ourselves. We do. That the words that we speak are very, very important. One of my former pastors, he is deceased, the late Reverend Hubert Floyd Shepherd, used to say thoughts are things and words have power, and that is true. And the things that we speak over ourselves directly impact the reality that we experience from day to day. So Black Cat said, it's not too late. It is not. It's never too late to start to rewire your brain. It's never too late to speak life over yourself. And it becomes like a positive feedback loop, honestly. I moved in January. I'm actually moved back home. And so I have my affirmations all over my bedroom wall. But before, they were in my bathroom, so that every time I washed my hands, every time I brushed my teeth, every time I did anything, I did number 1, 2, or 3. I was constantly reading my affirmations, and in my bedroom it has the same impact. So if I'm watching TV, if I'm putting on my clothes or getting dressed in the morning, if I am settling down for the evening, I just love to have those reminders. And it's interesting. My father, when I was growing up, used to bring these posters home that had all of these inspirational poems and affirmations. I didn't have the language of affirmation when I was that young, but he would hang them in my room, and I would just look at them all the time as I was studying, as I was doing whatever. I had no idea that was a practice that had actually been instilled in me from a child. So, big shout out to my dad for that. We also have a comment on that same day from Islanders that says, Amen, Lord. I know that's right. Yeah, you got to speak life over yourself. You just have to. It makes me think about that song. How does it go? Speak over yourself. Encourage yourself in the Lord. Somebody tell me what that is. What song? I think it's called Encourage Yourself. But yeah, I love that. From day 22, this was about shadow work. Yes, I love shadow work. We have a comment from Bianca. Bianca said, "Thank you. I love this so much. I'm journaling right now and I'm creating that table." Good, good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, shadow work is really important because so much of what we keep buried about ourselves, if we don't explore it, then we can't figure out how to integrate it and how to live in our whole authentic, truthful selves. Just as there are positive aspects to us, there are shadow aspects to us. And shadow does not mean negative. Shadow just means, shadow work is the work of unpacking why you respond to things in the way that you do, why you perceive things in the way that you do, and figuring out how to make those things kind of come together with the person who you present to the world. It helps you to be a more whole human being. So yes, shadow work. I do have a table that I talk about in this particular, in day 22, that's called What Matters Most. And it's about getting clear about the things that matter most to you. My shadow work led me to that, to creating that. I was in the process of doing these shadow cards, and I'll start to share some of those actual tools. They're in the resource guide that is linked in my bio. Some of the tools that I use, and I have these cards, these shadow work cards. And one of them asked, well, what is safety and why is it important to you? And y'all, I was stuck. Like, as you can see, I'm typically not a person who is at a loss for words. But when I read that one, I was stuck. Like, I had to come at it from what I knew that safety was not in order to be able to talk about what it was. But I did that, and I actually ended up doing that for several other aspects that matter to me, like honesty, provision, protection, security, safety. And y'all, whew, it brought so many things into perspective, the biggest of which was I was expecting things from other people that I wasn't giving to myself. That's an humbling thing, y'all. It really is. So thank you so much, Bianca. And if you need some assistance with that table as you're working on it, reach out to me. From day 24, this was about, choosing yourself and how scary that can be, but also how loving it is, how it's the most loving act ever. We have a comment from Lola H. She says the funny things about walls, because I talked about this wall that I hit in November of 2023, where it was like, girl, you're unable to can. Like, we just cannot keep going in the same direction. I hit a wall that forced me to change directions, forced me to pivot. And Lola H says, the funny thing about walls, they don't care, they just show up. Facts. They do not care. They don't care the life you've constructed for yourself or built for yourself. They don't care. When that wall shows up and you hit it, you have no choice but to pivot. So thank you so much, Lola, for that comment. Thank you. I think this was day 26. Woo, this was a heavy one. This was about cosplaying your life. Are you cosplaying your life? Are you wearing the costume and playing the role that you were told or made to feel like you had to play? And what would your life look like if you stepped out of that? Or what would your life look like if you didn't have any expectations, or weren't afraid of disappointing people, or, chose yourself, honestly, for the first time? What would your life look like? So we have a comment from Bianca that says, yes, 100. We try so hard not to disappoint the ones we love from their expectations of us. We neglect ourselves in the process. I'm working on this, living for myself, unapologetically me. Ooh, yes, Bianca. I stand in agreement with you on that. Yes, we do. We don't want to disappoint people. We may have fear about what choosing ourselves and pivoting might actually look like, the impact it might have on other people. Those things are very, very real, and they have to be unpacked, and they have to be thought through. In my own experience, over the last 3 years, I have walked up into and against almost every fear that I had my entire life. And for me, what I discovered was every time I walked through that door anyway, and made the courageous decision to walk through the door of fear and toward what was really aligned with what I needed most and what really mattered to me most and what brought me joy, it has been so much better than I could have ever imagined on the other side. Like the freedom, the liberation, the joy, the security, the safety. Like it has been a beautiful, beautiful journey. So yes, we don't want to disappoint people. That is so true. But we do neglect ourselves in the process. And at the end of the day, honestly, we all we got, you know. In the words of Nino Brown. Was that Nino? Or was that, I want to call him Jason's lyrics so bad. What's his name? Payne. Was that him? I don't know. But it is important that we choose ourselves and that we think about, at least think about, are we living the life that is truly aligned with who we are and what we value? Because even if we take small steps every day towards that life, we can get there. We can get there. We also have another comment from that same day from MJP, the Mindset Disruptor. And she says, under our mask is our real selves with 300s. Yes, yes. And there are times where we actually where we do have to wear, you know, masks. We wear masks sometimes in our workplace. You know, when we're engaging with people in different environments. But you got to let that skin breathe. Them pores got to breathe. And your whole life can't be the wearing of a mask. There have to be moments where you can be your authentic self and where you have spaces and places that will accept and embrace your authentic self. So thank you so much, both Bianca and MJP, the Mindset Disruptor. I love that handle for those thoughts. From day 28, now this was a day that was very near and dear to my heart. This was a message for women who give everything. Listen, I have been one of those women. I'm still one of those women who gives everything, but I give everything now from the overflow as opposed to giving everything from depletion. And there's a difference. There's a huge difference in terms of the way it makes you feel, in terms of the way it makes the people who you pour on and out to feel, and in terms of the way that these things are received when you're pouring from overflow versus from depletion. But Invisible Traction said, I'm the love of my life. What an amazing reminder. Indeed. Indeed. The One Day Company said, yes, I love this. Big shout out to the One Day Company. The One Day Company in this video from day 28 is featured the One Day Company planner. Now, I am not getting paid to say this, I promise you. Like this is just me loving on this One Day Company goal planner. But when I tell you that goal planner has changed the way that I approach thinking about the things that I want to achieve in my life and in my business and in my world and how I go about doing it, listen, that One Day planner is everything. So definitely check out One Day Company, the One Day Company, and thank you so much for that planner, and thank you for that comment. And then Candy G left 3 heart emojis. Yes, you're not alone, women and people, because there are men out there who are giving everything as well and not pouring back into themselves. There are folks who are doing that. So it's important that we take the time out to create space and time for ourselves, align our lives with the things that matter to us most, create moments of joy. Shout out to Add Joy, who's also featured in this 30-day challenge. Those things are important. And again, you don't have to overhaul your life. You can start small and grow from there. And then finally on day 30, which was yesterday. What? No, which is today. Y'all, where in the heck did June go? From earlier today, 3 hours ago, in fact, from day 30, Danae Rose 84 says, I'm late to the challenge, but right on time for my own growth. Day one starts tomorrow, period. Yes, it's never too late to start. It's never too late to start your love self journey. And it is really about the journey. It's not about the destination. You get to enjoy the fruits of your labor and enjoy the fruits of the work that you do when you get to the destination. But the journey is the point. So I am so very excited and happy that this 30-day challenge has gone on, but it doesn't stop at 30 days. There's one request that I would ask of you, and that is that you share this with someone in your life who needs it. Tag them, forward them a link. Day one, as she said, day one starts tomorrow. Day one starts today. So don't be afraid to share this with others. And if you're interested in continuing this work and getting really deep in the work with support and accountability, I am having a group that I'll be taking through 6 weeks. That cohort opened today. And so you can go to startloveselfjourney.com, scroll down, look for the Love Self Heart Collective. Heart stands for helping everybody achieve real transformation, because that's what my life's work is to do. And click that link and you can learn more. But I'm so excited, happy to be with this 30 days. Y'all forgive me. I'm going to respond to any comments that are there because this is my first live, y'all. So, it feels like a lot of things trying to look at these comments and talk and do this and do that is a lot. So I will respond to the comments offline. But thank you so much for joining me. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Be blessed and be whole. Peace, y'all.